Say hi.
Look at me.
Say hi, Bob. Say hi, Baba.
Hi, Papa.
Hi. You want to go home? Hi, Selah. Say hi, Daddy.
Hi, Daddy.
Oh, perfect. Say hi, Mommy.
Hi, Mommy.
Perfect.
In 2016, a young couple from the US met a 2-year-old girl, Xiangjun, who had been abandoned in Guizhou. They were captivated by her at first sight. Despite the communication barriers and complicated paperwork, they were determined to bring her home. 9 years have passed in the blink of an eye. How is Xiangjun doing now? In the late autumn of 2014, a faint cry echoed outside the walls of a children's welfare home in rural Guizhou, China. The director followed the sound and found a baby girl, wrapped in a floral blanket, lying in the grass. Scribbled on a note tucked into the fabric was the name Xiangjun, the only thing her birth parents left behind. Just 6 months old, weak from birth and born with a cleft lip, she was abandoned at the crossroads of fate. But the staff didn't flinch. After 6 months of care and surgery, her condition stabilized and her cleft lip was repaired. Though the orphanage was in a remote area, the children grew up as a tight-knit group. Xiangjun never knew what it meant to be an orphan. To her, childhood was filled with laughter, friendship, and the gentle care of women who loved her like their own. Across the ocean, Becca and Dan were going through their own turning point. With 2 sons already, they had long dreamed of a daughter. One day, Dan stumbled across his grandfather's old journal and was struck by a passage describing the pain of growing up in an orphanage: loneliness, isolation, helplessness. That memory lit a spark. What if we adopted a little girl from China? He asked Becca. The idea took root instantly. The couple began researching China's international adoption program and dove headfirst into the process. But they quickly learned it would be far more challenging than they ever imagined.
Chicago, over top of the world, all the way to Beijing. And then we go from Beijing to where Selah lives over here in Guiyang.
China's adoption process for foreign families is no small hurdle. Becca and Dan had to provide background checks spanning 3 generations, employment certifications, and undergo a year-long approval process. During that time, they raised money through garage sales, crowdfunding, and selling heirlooms. They even created a book sharing their adoption journey to rally community support. Their 2 sons pitched in their allowance, small in dollars, but huge in heart. In 2016, they were finally approved. Then came the photo from the Guizhou orphanage, a chubby-cheeked little girl with shy eyes. It was love at first sight. "She's the girl from our dreams," Becca said through tears. With paperwork in hand, they boarded a 20-hour flight to China. Holding Xiangjun's photo close, they imagined every possible version of that first meeting. What was truly moving was that instead of heading straight to Guizhou to meet their daughter Xiangjun, her adoptive parents chose to spend 2 days in Beijing first, hoping to better understand their daughter's homeland. They tasted local dishes like Peking duck and Zhejiang noodles, visited the Forbidden City, and even climbed the Great Wall. They were blown away by China's breathtaking scenery and deeply impressed by its rich cultural history. 2 days later, they set off for Guizhou. When they arrived at the orphanage, the American mom was overwhelmed with emotion. She was about to meet the little girl she dreamed about for so long, the daughter she was finally going to call her own. She could hardly contain her excitement. But in contrast to the parents' joy, little Xiangjun didn't know what to make of it. She just stood there frozen, staring at the 2 strangers in front of her, with uncertainty written all over her face. The American mom had noticed how overwhelmed Xiangjun felt. Step by step, she walked toward the little girl, then knelt down in front of her and gently began to speak, hoping to calm her fears and earn her trust. Thankfully, the grandfatherly caretaker at the orphanage stepped in to help. He gently said, "Your mom is here. Look, she's your mom." Then he quietly stepped back, giving the little girl and her new parents space. With his encouragement, Xiangjun shyly whispered the word, "Mama." That tiny, tender voice broke through the American mother's defenses. It melted her heart completely. She quickly pulled out the gift she'd prepared, gently caressed Xiangjun's cheek, and held her close in a loving embrace. It was the mother's warmth that slowly melted the tension. Touched by her kindness, Xiangjun let her guard down, started calling her Mom over and over again with a big smile, and even offered her a few biscuits to eat. In that moment, they looked like a real mother and daughter. Having grown up without a mother's love, Xiangjun quickly began to depend on her American mom's gentle presence. And just like that, a new family bond, one that stretched across the globe, began to form. After leaving the orphanage, the couple didn't rush back to the U.S. Instead, they rented a hotel room in the city for a month, wanting Xiangjun to enjoy her homeland a bit longer and make some lasting memories of where she came from. During that time, Xiangjun had the time of her life with her new parents. They blew soap bubbles with her, took her shopping along busy streets, visited monkeys at the zoo, rode ferries through the city, and admired the glowing city lights together at night. The bond between Xiangjun and her adoptive parents grew stronger by the day. Her smile came more easily, and her laughter more often. A month later, Xiangjun boarded a plane with her new parents bound for America. It was her very first flight, and she couldn't have been more thrilled.
Say
Luna,
that.
say hi.
Look at me.
Say hi, Bob. Say hi, Baba.
Hi, Papa.
Hi. You want to go home?
When Xiangjun, now named Selah, meaning pause and reflect in Hebrew, arrived in the U.S., she was met with balloons, toys, and hand-drawn cards from her new family. Her parents chose that name to honor the gift this journey had become. Becca and Dan poured their hearts into helping her adjust. Weekends at Disney watching fireworks, dumplings, and lanterns during Lunar New Year, even learning basic Guizhou dialect to talk with her. Her big brothers turned into full-time sister protectors, chasing her around the house, drawing on the walls, and tossing toys everywhere. Whenever Mom pretended to be mad, all three kids would giggle and hide the evidence under the bed. Their home was always loud, with love, with laughter, with life. Fast forward to 2025. Xiangjun is now 10 years old, and the timid baby from the orphanage is long gone. With fair skin, sharp features, and a smile that mirrors her mom Becca's, she's grown into a radiant young girl. On social media, a photo of her proudly wearing a track medal went viral. Ponytail bouncing, cheeks flushed, confidence beaming. Every year, her parents throw a birthday party and a Lunar New Year family gathering. We want her to know that no matter where she comes from, she is fully and completely loved, Dan said in an interview. Today, Selah switches between English and Chinese effortlessly, stars in her school's drama club, and paints stories of her two hometowns with striking detail. Looking back on this incredible journey, Dan and Becca often say, "Adoption isn't charity. It's two lives completing each other." The heirloom pocket watch they once sold to help fund the adoption now sits framed beside their family portrait. Dan's grandfather's journal rests quietly on a bookshelf, bearing witness to a cycle of loneliness that was finally broken. Xiangjun's story isn't unique. Over 150,000 Chinese orphans have found new beginnings through international adoption. Behind every abandoned life is a family willing to love fiercely, to hope relentlessly. As Becca once put it, we couldn't choose her past, but we can protect her future. In just 10 years, Xiangjun has grown from an abandoned infant into a vibrant, self-assured young girl. Her smile is proof that love can stitch even the most broken pieces back together. Her transformation shows the true power of connection, beyond borders, beyond race, beyond blood. And when someone asks her what home means, she always holds up her family photo, looks them straight in the eye, and says, This is my home. If this story moved you the way it moved us, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want more real stories that remind us of the power of love and second chances, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.